Hey everybody. This week we're zooming into SEMICON West, having conversations with members of the 3D Insights community. Today I'm sitting with and speaking with Dave Faulkner of Cimetrix. Cimetrix offers software products that connect smart manufacturing equipment in the world's most advanced factories. We actually first met, Dave and I, at SEMICON Europa last year and realized that there was a lot of synergy between what Cimetrix does and what the 3D Insights community needs. So they became members. Hi, Dave.
Well, good morning, and thank you for inviting me, Francoise. I'll enjoy the conversation. Let's begin.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us. How are things going at Cimetrix right now?
It's actually going really well. Most of our business has been in the front end side, but we just have lots of opportunities in the semiconductor back end and then further down the electronics supply chain into the PCB industry, the SMT placement. So it's going well. Q2 is our best quarter ever. So
really,
it's going well.
How are you navigating the coronavirus situation as far as being in business? Are you considered an essential business? Have you been able to keep working, or people working remotely, or how does it work?
We're somewhat lucky in that we're a software business. So we have been, we previously have set up so we can run virtually anywhere. Okay. So our employees, we're all working from home. We meet every day. We're using Microsoft Teams to communicate, and that works out well. Our teams, we have teams around the world, and so we're all using that skill set. And so really, we miss each other personally, but overall the business works well. It's much tougher for our customers who have to build equipment and climb all over the equipment and social distance, and it's a lot harder. But we're right in front of our customers virtually. Let's put it that way. So yeah, it's going well.
So your software goes into equipment and helps them talk to each other. Can you explain that a little bit, and how
Sure.
that works for, let's say, like equipment that goes into the OSATs?
Okay. Let's walk all the way down the supply chain, because in the past it's been easy to say we have semiconductor front end and we have back end, then we make a printed circuit board, then we populate the printed circuit board, then we build the phone. But the lines are starting to blur. And so it's really fascinating. So we really started in the semiconductor industry when the industry moved to 300 millimeter wafers. And what that caused is complete automation of the wafer fab. So we don't want people touching wafers. Everything's in a FOUP. Everything has to be run by computers and software instead of people, especially moving substrates. And so we got involved with SEMI in designing and helping with the standards development so those factories could be automated. And then we built software to enable the equipment suppliers to add all these SEMI standards in and make their software function so that all the equipment on the factory floor essentially looks the same to the host computer. And so we call this command and control of the equipment. So the host computer can say, okay, run this recipe and report back all your activities in exactly this way. And when a new wafer FOUP arrives to the tool, it does it exactly like this, and it gets reported like this. And so it's all standardized. And SEMI really did a good job on this. I've worked in many different industries, and I've never seen levels of automation like this in the semiconductor industry. But that was not needed in the back end. So the back end kind of been on its own. And what we're seeing is, unlike the front end where material handling is all the same in every factory, in the back end, how you deliver material to the equipment on the factory floor is all different. Sometimes it's a wafer, sometimes it's a panel, sometimes it's some other way to package and hold chips, a tray. And so that variability causes all kinds of issues. And then a lot of the equipment is less expensive, so it's sometimes not even connected to a host computer. And we've survived that way. But now with 3D packaging and with requirements of traceability and getting more data and tracking everything, the back-end community has to change.
Okay.
And so what's happened is SEMI started a committee to deal with this, and let me get you the exact name of it. It's called the Advanced Backend Factory Integration Task Force,
Okay.
ABFI. And we're one of the key members, and PDF Solutions is a key member. Intel and Micron play a heavy role, and a host of other players too. And what we're doing is in that task force, we're taking all what we learned in the last 20 years in the front end and saying, what can we apply to the back end to raise the level of the automation side of the back end, so that the equipment suppliers can have a little more standardization. And if I ship to this OSAT versus this back-end facility, I don't have to retool and change my material handling and what data I'm reporting. So we can kind of commonize it a little bit more, and that'll bring costs down for everybody. So this committee's deep in the work right now, and the trend that they're heading on right now is looking at the SEMI 300 millimeter automation standards that are used in the front end, and how can we take those and adapt and apply them to the back end. And I think this will be a successful committee that's really going to help the industry, and it's going to change a lot of structure and software that's built into the equipment in the back end over the next 3 to 5 years, let's say. So we're excited to be part of that. So there's a lot of change happening.
Now, does this mean, because I know that a lot of companies have their own, they develop their software for their tools. They are gathering data and they're using that, feeding that data forward to other tools, their other tools that they have in the line. Does this mean that it makes it tool agnostic, where let's say EVG tools could speak to applied tools, to tell tools? I mean, is that what your software allows for? Or, I mean, we talk about smart manufacturing, and my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, is that part of the smart manufacturing is you're able to gather data and use that data for, adjusting recipes or making sure that the next step in the process knows what happened in the previous tool.
Yes.
Is that very simplistic but correct?
Yes, simplistically, yeah, that's a good job.
Yeah, software is totally not my thing. So,
yes.
But yeah, so I guess my question is the standards, will that allow for, if people implement Cimetrix software in their tools, will that mean that regardless of what supplier you're working with, that the tools can talk to each other?
Yes, and most importantly, talk to the MES system in the factory, okay, the manufacturing execution system, which really defines the movement and how things are going to work in the facility. And now, if you move one step down into where we populate the printed circuit boards, those factories all happen directly in a line with a conveyor belt moving the printed circuit board from one piece of equipment to the next. That's a good application to have equipment talk directly to the next piece of equipment.
Okay.
But in the semiconductor front end and in the back end, generally the equipment has to talk to the host computer, deliver all that data. The host computer may make some adjustments or recommend some changes, or send the wafer somewhere else, or send the whatever the substrate is somewhere else. But it's more of a vertical communication in the semiconductor front and back end. And once you move to the SMT industry, it starts to become more horizontal.
Okay. So, and before, as you said, the back end didn't really need that, and they didn't even necessarily have a host computer, but now with 3D and all of that, it's something that they need to consider and talk to you guys.
And most back end facilities have a host computer, and if the equipment's not connected, then you've got to figure out how to get that data. You either write it down or you enter in a screen or something, and it's just not there's people involved.
Right. And, okay. So this makes it fully automated.
Yeah, we want to move towards that fully automated. We want to move towards not only being able to run the equipment, we want to be able to also at the same time gather massive amounts of data without slowing down the process. And we've figured that out, how to do that in the front end, and we just need to do that in the back end. And that's what this committee is really working on.
Cool. Okay. And we actually have, I think, a series of blogs that Cimetrix has written and that are available on 3D Insights. So people can definitely check that out to learn more about it. And we'll be sharing those. So let's shift gears a little bit. You're very involved with SEMI. You're exhibiting at SEMICON West. What do you think of the virtual event format?
Well, it's going to be a new learning experience for us as it is for everybody else,
Yeah.
but we like new things. And, you know, we work in the software world, so this is a little bit comfortable for us,
Right. Yeah.
but it's also a little bit uncomfortable. We normally go to every SEMICON show around the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, having a booth there and meeting customers, we really like to do that. So this is going to be a little bit different. And whether it's as effective, I think we'll find out.
We'll find out, right?
After we do our debrief after the show.
Yeah.
But we're jumping into it. We've got a booth. We're staffing it, manning it, and figuring out how to work with customers. So
yeah, we attended the training yesterday because we'll be doing the same, and this will be on, as I said to you before, this will be on the booth there. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where they take this, because I think it's going to maybe be a little while before we can do these things in person. I know, did you participate in SEMICON China this year, which was a live event?
Yes, and we're about 4 or 5 years ago, we made, as we could just see everything shifting to Asia and other places, we built companies and teams in China, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, and also in Europe. So when we weren't allowed to travel to China, our team in China just we set up a booth. We had a show. You know, it wasn't as crowded as it was last year, but it was still very effective. So
yeah, I saw pictures. It looked like there were still a lot of people there. So,
but we're going to plan to do the same in Taiwan, and we'll see what happens in Europe.
Okay, then. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And it was great to talk to you again. And to everybody watching this video, please thank you for stopping by the 3D Insights virtual booth at SEMICON West. Please remember to download a copy of the yearbook before you go and sign up to receive our e-newsletter, and enjoy the rest of your time at virtual SEMICON West.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.